idea was to sort of get them growing right across it.
I'm in Geelong today taking a tour of possibly one of the most beautiful veggie gardens. It might look familiar to you. If you use Instagram, there's every chance it's popped up, all the amazing things that he grows, but also the amazing ways that he does it. So today Ash is going to take us for a full tour of his garden. It is October, it is spring, he is planning for the summer months, and I can't wait to show you what he's got growing. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, hit subscribe now. I run veggie garden tours here in Victoria, Australia, at least every month, usually several a month, and share all the other awesome things I'm learning along the way too. Let's get into it. Ash, I'm so excited to come and have a look at your garden.
Thank you, thanks for coming.
This is the first time I've seen Ash's garden in the flesh, but you're a bit insta-famous.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, the Instagram channel. So I just started up as getting a couple of photos online and sort of seeing where it went, and got a couple of thousand followers, and then it sort of
You've got more than a couple of thousand.
Yeah, it's coming up to 200,000 on Instagram. We're about 50,000 on Facebook, and then another almost 50,000 on TikTok.
I actually came across Ash's garden from the Ambulance Victoria Instagram page. Being a journo, I follow them for news type stuff. And you are also a lifesaver. This isn't your full-time job.
No, full-time job, work for Ambulance Victoria. Yeah, I was a paramedic working on road for about 5 years, and then I've sort of transitioned into an office-based role, which I've been in for about 6 years now. So it's really, really enjoyable, but that's my full-time job. And then this is sort of the part-time little bit on the side.
When did you start doing all this?
So we bought this house about 3 years ago, and that was sort of the first project I wanted to get into the back corner and had my own little space. The rest of the yard isn't looking as nice, but that's future projects. But yeah, this is my little corner of the backyard, and that's my little space where I can come out and relax and spend a bit of time.
You want to show me around?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Now I just need to explain for anyone who's wondering why on earth am I using this as a microphone. One of my kids has stolen one of my microphones. Usually I have 2 clip-ons, but I've only got one today. So we popped it on here, which is a genius idea of Michael.
Yeah, gardening with Michael.
Thank you, Michael. We are stealing your idea today.
All right, so this is the front archway into the veggie garden, which has been pretty popular on social media lately. It's just 2 scraps of concrete Rio mesh that I've joined in the middle and just bent between the 2 garden beds here. So we get this nice little archway. We've got sweet peas growing up both sides of it at the moment, which are looking absolutely beautiful. We've got the solar fairy lights as well, so they come on each night. Looks quite special when you sort of see it from the house at night. Yeah, not just about food production, but also space for the pollinators. We've got the beehive in the background as well, so the garden's absolutely full of bees. They're loving the lavender. We've got the ranunculus, and then some nasturtiums as well throughout this main little flower bed.
There's supposed to be lots of benefits to nasturtiums, isn't there? Tell me about one.
Yeah, so great for the beneficial insects, but also as well they're a sort of good pest deterrent as well. They're sort of, all of the pests get attracted to them, and they're sort of a decoy plant in the garden. So instead of the pests getting onto your prized vegetables or food that you want to be growing, they're sort of more attracted to the nasturtiums. Flowers are edible, you see them in salads quite often, make for quite a beautiful salad.
What have you got growing up beside here in this trellis?
So this is star jasmine. I was sort of looking for something to fill this space and sort of screen off the working sort of side of the veggie garden. So when you're looking at it from the front, it was more about trying to see some greenery, but also give me some shade when I'm working here at the potting up table, which I spend a fair bit of time standing here. One thing I did notice when I put this in is that it's quite reflective when the sun's shining down on me, so trying to get something to grow up to block a bit of that sunlight coming down. But this has been a great addition to the veggie garden as well.
This is way tidier than my potting up station.
Well, this is two old pallets that we got a couple of deliveries on, and then just an old sink that I found from the tip actually. Yeah, so all up it cost me $20 to put this thing together, but it's great, you know, fill one of these sides up with a bit of soil, use this side to do all my plantings and my potting, and once all the soil's used, then get the hose and sort of rinse everything down, clean it all up, and it just drops down into that bucket underneath, and then water the rest of the garden with it.
You're a genius.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but yeah, it's been a great addition to the garden.
Is this passion fruit?
Yeah, passion fruits. We've got 2 different types of passion fruit. We've got the classic black Nelly Kelly that you see at the supermarket, which is taken off and it's absolutely horrific at the moment. It goes right the way back.
Oh wow.
And then across.
How many plants is that?
So that's just one.
Whoa.
One on this side, and then we've got one on the other side as well, which is a Panama Red.
How many years ago did you plant that?
So this is a couple of years old. So we're about 2.5 years in now, and then I've got to trim it back because it just keeps trying to spread. We can see a bit of fruit here actually. We've got flower, and then a little passion fruit starting to take off. So we get hundreds of passion fruit from this single vine every year, which is absolutely incredible. They stay evergreen throughout the year, which is different to everything else that I've got planted along the trellis. And the idea was the chicken coop's right behind the passion fruit. So we're providing constant shade for the chooks. So they've got a safe spot that they're out of direct sunlight. But then when the weather cools down, the fruit trees that are along the back trellis lose all their leaves. So it lets the sunlight through into the chook run and they keep nice and happy and don't get too hot, which is good.
What have you got growing around here?
Yeah, so this is sort of my little salad bar, I guess you'd call it. This is the majority of where we put our lettuce because it does get a little bit of sun, but it gets quite a bit of shade as well, and it's quite protected in this space. So it's a good little first stop when we come into the veggie garden. Just pick a bit of lettuce and a couple of the herbs that are growing in this spot.
What's that? That's not mint, is it?
No, so that's lemon balm, which has been really good. So it's grown really well in that spot. It's obviously really happy in that sort of part shade position.
What do you use lemon balm for?
So I use it to add to teas.
Can I smell it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it smells lemony.
Yep, as the name would suggest, yeah.
That would be quite nice. Is it like it almost smells like it could be medicinal or something?
It's a good sort of stress reliever, good for anxiety. Scrunch a bit up in a cup of tea and sit out in the garden and enjoy it.
So good.
And then across the rest of this space, we've got some rhubarb in the back corner there as well.
And some new babies.
Yeah, we've just put some little seedlings in. So we've got a couple of button-up pumpkins that have just been planted. And across the front there, we've got pineapple sage, we've got some oregano and some lemon thyme. And then just because you can't have enough flowers in the garden, we've got some zinnias across the end there.
Oh, beautiful. I can see some interesting little fruit buds up here. What's this one?
Yeah, so this is our crimson rocket peach. This is relatively new to the garden. I was a bit late in treating it for the curly leaf, but still producing a fair bit of fruit. I planted this one last year and it took off really well, but we didn't get any fruit off it between the birds and a couple of possums. They sort of made the most of anything that was on there, which was a bit sad, but
They discovered it was delicious.
yeah, I guess we've got to share. My sort of thought is if they're eating some of this stuff, they're not eating the valuables in the middle of the garden, so.
Is this the leaf curl?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So how do you treat the leaf curl?
So we use a spray when the leaves start emerging, but I was just a bit late this year. So I'll have to start treating it again next year when we start getting some new growth on it.
Any particular spray that you find works well?
Yeah, there is just a generic leaf curl spray that you can get from the hardware or your nursery. We've got some bees in the backyard, which are...
Do. I want to see beehive in a minute. They are, I wonder if you can actually see them. Yeah, you can see them a bit.
Yeah.
Are they likely to sting if you don't bother them?
No, these bees, we've been quite fortunate that the queens that we've had, we've got really docile and really happy bees. I mean, I'm out here annoying them absolutely every day. So I think I've had 2 stings in 3 years. And I mean, I get right up close, right next to the hive as well.
What's your plan for this bed?
So this bed here, we're going to put some chilies across the front row here, a couple of flowers, a couple of chilies, and then I've got some baby cucumbers, which I've put across here, and then just another bit of concrete Rio, which again left over on the house, so they'll just climb up that.
What's your plan for this space here?
Yeah, so this is our main tomato growing bed, and across the back here we sort of try and put one tomato plant in here, and then the middle space here we generally put four plants with 2 rows that'll grow up and sort of fill up the entire trellis, which is really cool. So yeah, 4 varieties will go in, and then we've got marigolds. We'll plant some basil and sort of get that companion planting going really well. So the marigolds will act to attract all the beneficial insects. They'll help with some pest deterrent, and the basil as well. You know, who doesn't like a bit of basil, tomato, and they have to go together, yeah. So this, again, some more leftover Rio. We had a little bit of a pile of it when we moved in, but I've just changed this over for this year. So I'm just creating a bit of an arch to lean up and sort of prop against the existing trellis that we've got in here. And the idea is that we've got some tromboncinos, which I'm planting for the first time.
What's a tromboncino?
It's a long, big zucchini, and they can grow, you know, quite large. And depending on when you pick them, you know, you can pick them smaller for taste and ease of use, or you can wait till they get quite large. I've seen quite a few people grow them, you know, competition growing, seeing how big they can actually get these things to grow.
So that would look really cool because
yeah.
they should fall through.
So they would sort of fall through here, and then I'd have to sort of weave through and move them across as I'm trying to walk through this garden.
Ash, your silver beet is looking a lot bigger than mine.
Yeah, it is.
What's your trick to getting them so huge?
I've just been letting them grow. These are primarily for the chooks. They absolutely love them, and we can sort of see they're starting to go to seed now, but the chooks absolutely love these.
While we're talking about big, luscious, healthy veggies, at the start of a new season, what's your soil routine for getting it to?
So every sort of season, we'll let the existing sugarcane mulch break down and compost in, and then it's just adding, you know, a layer of fresh compost, whether it's from what we're producing or whether it's getting some additional stuff in, and a good mix of pelletized chicken manure, some blood and bone, and then giving that a couple of weeks to really settle in the garden, and topping it off with some more sugarcane mulch. So that's what I've done this year, and we can sort of see, yeah, it's all sort of mixed in quite nicely and ready to get planting.
Now have your tromboncino over there.
Yep.
What are these ones?
Yeah, so these are little cucumbers, poinsettia cucumbers. So we'll just let them grow up the arch.
Ash, I can see what looks like zucchinis over here. I don't usually see stakes for zucchinis. Tell me
Yeah,
about
so
these.
we've been growing our zucchini vertically for a couple of years now, which is, it's been really good. So the idea is that, yeah, you plant the zucchini obviously next to a stake, and as the plant grows up, we just continue to tie the main stem up the stake as it grows. And then any of the leaves that are below that sort of the lowest fruit on the plant, we just chop them off to create a nice stem going up. A couple of really good benefits is air circulation. We're not having anything touching the ground, so we're reducing our risk of disease. As I said, the fruit isn't on the ground, so our pests aren't getting in and making contact with them. Ease of harvest as well. If the zucchini's up a bit higher, it sort of makes it a bit easier. And also space saving as well. We can plant them a bit closer together, so it's great for people that don't have as much space.
I want to see this beehive in a second, but first, what are these trees you've got growing around the back?
So starting on this side, we've got 2 kiwi fruits. So we've got the male on the right hand side, and then we've got the female on the left hand side. So kiwi fruit needs a male and a female plant to produce fruit. So these ones here are about 3 years old. I planted them quite early on, knowing that they take quite a few years to produce fruit. So hopefully next year or the year after, we'll get our first bit of fruit off the vine. But for now, it's more just letting them grow, trying to contain it to this particular space over here.
And this one?
So this is our pear tree, and this is my first real attempt at a spalliering. I don't think I've nailed it absolutely, but we can sort of see that, yeah, it is starting to really sprawl out, and hopefully this is the first year that we'll be getting a bit of fruit off the tree too.
Now, we were chatting earlier about your family. You've actually got some little ones that would be loving
Yeah, we've got three young kids. We've got 2 boys and a little girl, and yeah, they love fruit, berries in particular. So anything that I'm growing out here is saving us on our fortnightly shopping bill.
The kids smash through the fruit, don't they?
Yeah, yep. So this is our apple tree, and it's got 2 different types of apples. So it's a grafted tree.
Apples are another one I imagine they love.
So the left-hand side's the golden Dorset, and then on the right-hand side we've got our Granny Smith
Did you graft them or did you buy them?
No, we got them from a company called Fruit Salad Trees.
I've seen them.
Yeah, we got about 7 trees actually from them, so they're sort of featured throughout the backyard.
Wow.
The sort of thought was we wanted to have lots of different varieties of fruit, so we'll get trees that have got 2, 3, 4 grafts on them to sort of make the most of it and not have a glut of one single particular type of fruit. Yeah.
Is it time to see these bees?
Yeah, let's have a look at the bees. So this is our flow hive. We've had this set up for a couple of years now. This will be the third summer that they've gone through. They're pretty docile. They're really great for the garden, obviously, to pollinate everything in the garden. So we're not needing to hand pollinate or trying to do any of that ourselves. The bees are on absolutely everything. You'll hear the sound like they change their tone.
I wasn't watching where I was going, so it's highly likely, and I got really, really close. So it's highly likely I was being irresponsible. Have you planted them recently, or are these ones that sort of grow all year round?
So they went in the ground a couple of months ago as sort of little corms, they're called, the ranunculus corms. But yeah, that's sort of been a couple of month development and then finally flowering into that form. So obviously with flowers, the more you cut them, the more that they're going to produce. I just haven't had the time. These are sort of like, your first flowering in spring. And then what I've done is I've got some dahlia tubers that will then sort of replace that, and we'll transition out of the ranunculus, and then the dahlias will all pop up and sort of keep that flowering process continual and looking really nice. So this is our little greenhouse, and it's been pretty productive over the last few years. I've had it since I had my first vegetable garden in our last house. So it's been a good 6 or 7 years that we've had this one. Still really strong, really sturdy. We've got the auto opening door on top, so once the temperature rises inside, the door automatically pops up, so I don't need to come in and pop the vent open or do anything like that.
So you use this primarily to start seedlings?
So seedlings generally start inside the house, and then I'll move them into the greenhouse. But there's always sort of something going on in here. This year we played around a little bit with soil blocking, experimenting how that worked, and you can sort of see those seedlings down the bottom. They got planted quite early because I was sort of experimenting with how the process worked and seeing if it was going to be something that we would use moving forward. So
what's your verdict on the soil blocking?
Yeah, soil blocking's been really good. I wouldn't say it's for everything and for everyone, but definitely for us, easily putting together 20 soil blocks in the one tray, popping seeds in those. It's been really good. We've sort of cut down on some of the plastic waste and plastic that we're buying in the garden. You don't need to house those seedlings in an individual plastic pot or tray. There still is some plastic involvement, as you can see there with those eggplants. I've got them sitting in that tray so I can water from the base and let the water rise up as the plant needs it. When we create the little soil block, we get a nice little square of soil. It's a little bit of a recipe that goes into it. We've got a mixture of compost, some general soil raising mix. We've got some perlites. I've added in some worm castings, and it sort of comes out with this. And we can see we don't sort of get that root bound. That's ready to just put straight into the garden, which is fantastic. So fruit trees, these are all in pots waiting for the rest of our landscaping to be done so we can sort of find a home for them. But we've got our pomegranate here, which...
Oh, I want a pomegranate tree.
Yeah, a lot of new growth on it at the moment.
Take me over here.
Yes, over this side of the garden, this has sort of been my latest little project that I've been working on. So this, I guess, is our citrus tree alley. We've got multi-grafted citrus trees, 3 of them in total. So
were these all from the same place?
Yeah, same company, Fruit Salad Trees. So we've got 4 different types of lemons. We've got Eureka lemon, Maya lemon, Lisbon, and then lemonade on the one tree. These little white points here is where the graft's been attached to the tree.
Oh yeah. Cool.
And I've just sort of set all of this up with the little watering system as well. So that black tube next to the tree, there's a reservoir underneath the tree. So the idea is that you fill the reservoir up with water. It's got a 20-litre container, and then the water wicks up and waters the tree as it needs it, as opposed to sort of overhead watering.
And they're called water ups.
Yeah, Water Ups is the company. that produces these. So these are their tree reservoirs. And I just come through once every few weeks and fill up the 20-litre storage container underneath and let them do their thing, yeah, which is really cool. You know, you can add liquid fertilizers to it as well if you want to. So we've got mandarins, we've got tangelos, pomelo and grapefruit on this one. So this will be a great tree once it grows up and starts really producing fruit, and space saving as well. So to have 4 different varieties on the one tree is pretty special, I think. Over the next few months, yeah, it'll be very productive little space along the fence line and sort of hopefully grow up and provide a bit of screenage as well.
What's through here?
So this is through into the chicken coop, chicken run. We've got our big compost bin here. Majority of the scraps that the chooks won't eat end up in here. All of the extras from the chicken coop, all the chook poo comes in here, goes in the top, and then there's a little door down the bottom that we just lift off and pull out the finished product. Trying to keep things as simple as possible. So it's got a center lung that goes right up the middle of the entire system, so it pulls air up as it needs it. These are our 4 girls. So their run, yeah, wraps right around the back of the veggie garden. So our kids quite fondly names the chooks. So we've got Brick, who's our eyes are brown. We've got Cloud, Biscuits and Chicken. So they're our four chooks, fondly named by the kids.
Where do they lay their eggs?
Yeah, this is their little coop here. We'll see if there's any eggs in there at the moment. There you go. We've got 4 eggs. They're all back to laying once a day at the moment, which is great. The fridge is absolutely full of eggs, and they've had a nice little clean out as well. So they're all. I got sick of actually locking the girls up every night and sort of forgetting, you know, I'd lay in bed and go, oh, I've got to go and lock the chooks up. So we ended up getting one of these automatic doors for the chicken coop. So you come through here by a company called Omelette, but I mean, plenty of different people make them, but the coop automatically shuts at night, and you can set it based on time. Once they're in, I think I've got it set to close at about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, but you can also do it based on light sensor as well. Backyard, yeah, is going to be a bit of a transformation over the next few months. The first real step is replacing the retaining wall that we had. Seen better days, and it sort of wasn't completed all the way through. So the first thing is to get retaining wall replaced and sort of create that separation, the upper zone, and then this lower zone down here. We've got a deck planned across the full back of the house, so that'll come out about 3.5 meters. And then along the side here, we've got a sort of seated area, fire pit, barbecue area along to that fence line where the screen is over there. Garden shed will be removed, and that'll be replaced with the kids' cubby house and sort of some play areas that the kids can have in the corner of the yard. And then just lots of planting, lots of flowers and trees across the back fence line.
Are you excited?
Oh, absolutely.
Ash is in the process of landscaping the rest of his backyard at the moment. I'm going to come back in a few months' time and show you how he has transformed it. Stay tuned, can't wait to show you. And if you're watching this later on down the track, I will put a link to that video in the description.